Welcome back to Carneades.org. Today we're going to be continuing with our series, Dumbfounding Definitions, Dizzying Distinctions, and Diabolical Doctrines, a series sorting through some of the jargon of philosophy. In this video we're going to be looking at what is the fallacy of association. Now, the fallacy of association is often categorized as a fallacy of hasty generalization. Those kinds of fallacies being fallacies where you take specific instances or examples and generalize them without the proper reasons for doing so. So you take an individual case or an anecdote and you say this is representative of the whole population without a statistical test backing you up, some scientific methodology, or strong deductive logic. Basically, the fallacy occurs when some, but not all members of one group are members of another group. The fallacy assumes that all the members of the first group are members of the second group. Note that it doesn't actually have to be the case that some, but not all members of the group are members of the other group. It could be the case that all of the members of that first group are members of the second group, but simply by only picking out a couple examples, you have not shown that, and that argument is not valid. Remember, fallacies have to do with whether or not a particular argument is valid, i.e., the conclusion is necessarily implied by the premises. So, let's look at some examples to make that clear, because that's a little abstract. The flowers in my garden are all roses. Therefore, all flowers are roses. We took some specific examples of, I looked at a flower, it fit in both the category of being a flower and being a rose, and so I concluded that everything that fits in the category of being a flower fits in the category of being a rose. Note that this would be fallacious even if it were the case that we had wiped out all the other flowers on Earth and the only flowers that were left were roses. Because just by looking at my garden and saying all the flowers here are roses, so all flowers in the world are roses, I haven't proved the second statement. The teachers I've met are overworked. Therefore, all teachers are overworked. Once again, remembering that simply because the conclusion may be true, it doesn't mean that the argument is valid. All bankers I know are Republicans. Therefore, all bankers are Republicans. Once again, taking individual specific instances and trying to generalize them without the proper statistical or logical framework to do so. All the houses I've seen are red, therefore all houses are red. Hopefully you get the general picture. So, two versions of this fallacy, which are often used in fallacious political arguments or advertising, are the guilt by association fallacy and the honor by association fallacy. These use a negative or positive perception of a particular group and attempt to bring that association onto the other group, which shares some, but not all, members. Or not necessarily all members. Let's take a look. All the Christians I have met hate gay people. Therefore, all Christians hate gay people. All the poor people I have met are lazy. Therefore, all poor people are lazy. Some ex-convicts donated money to a charity. Therefore, all ex-convicts donate money to charity. Galileo's fringe beliefs were originally mocked, but eventually were acknowledged to be correct. Therefore, my fringe beliefs may be mocked now, but eventually will be acknowledged to be correct. So, all of these are instances where you're taking a couple of examples which fit in both of the two groups you're talking about and claiming that that means that everyone in the first group fits into the second group. The last example is sometimes called Galileo's Gambit, which is a very specific instance of using this fallacy to justify fringe beliefs through honor by association, of saying that there's at least someone in history who had a fringe belief and eventually was acknowledged to be correct, so my fringe beliefs will eventually be acknowledged to be correct. Completely ignoring all the people whose fringe beliefs have never been acknowledged to be correct, that are littered throughout history. Now remember, that a fallacy just means that an argument is invalid, that the premises do not imply the conclusion. The conclusion could be true and the premise could be true. It's simply a question of, does the premise necessarily imply the conclusion? Simply sharing members with another group is insufficient to show the groups share all members. However, beliefs held by one group may logically imply beliefs held by another. So, at least you would be logically inconsistent to be a member of one group but not the other. So you imagine one group of people that believes 2 plus 2 equals 5, and another group of people which believes that, say, all the laws of mathematics are true. One group may be implied, the people that believe that 2 plus 2 equals 4, that's going to be implied by the belief that all the laws of mathematics are true, and so one group is simply going to be a subset of the other. But that is not proven by simply saying that some members of the first group happen to be members of the second group. It's shown by saying their beliefs logically imply the other set of beliefs. Simply sharing members is not enough to show that the groups are the same or have the same membership. The difference is this argument rests on the logical implications of one's group's beliefs, not on just common membership. Near the beginning of the time with this channel, we created a series on philosophical fallacies called Fallacy February. I highly would suggest you to check that out. However, there are many philosophical fallacies that we never ended up covering because there's just so many of them. As part of the jargon of philosophy, we're going to start occasionally throwing those fallacies into this series. I think they're very interesting and important to talk about. Leave your thoughts in the comments below and stay tuned for more fallacies. What are some examples of the fallacy of association that you have seen used recently in advertising or in the news? Leave your answers in the comments below. Watch this video and more here at Carneades.org and stay skeptical, everybody.